right, guys, let's try that for the third time. We're back at the Virginia Living Museum. Sorry about that before. We had some technical difficulties with our connection. So we actually wound up changing locations. We are actually upstairs exploring our Piedmont gallery with our Leucistic skunk named Graham. He's about 7 years old. As you can see, he may be a little bit on the older side, but he is still quite young and active. He's just living it up here exploring. This is a really good little bit of enrichment for him. As you can see, it's pretty good for those fish behind him as well. Everybody wants to know what that fuzzy little guy is down there. So this is going to be really beneficial for everybody. So we're going to be able to answer all your questions about our Leucistic skunk. That may be a word that you guys may have not heard before. Basically, that means he's missing a lot of his pigment in his fur, but he's not albino. If he were albino, he would have little red eyes and a little red nose. I'm going to go over there and offer him some treats. See if we can give him some reinforcers. I know it's a little bit dark, but you guys can't really see, but I promise there's some really yummy stuff in there if you were a skunk. What do you think, Graham? You want some? Here, buddy. So he's got some yummy mealworms in there, little pieces of apple, yam, as well as some kibbles. So he's going to snack on that while he's wandering around so we can make sure this maintains a nice, happy, positive experience for him. But for him, he also really likes tactiles. He's a big fan of getting scratches. And you can see he's almost like a little doggy, and he's got that little reflex there. But it is important to remember that he is still technically a wild animal, even though he has this different coloration. In fact, in the state of Virginia, you have to have a special permit to be able to have a skunk. So that's why he's actually here with us. Someone's permit ran out, and the State Department was nice enough to give us a call to see if we can give him a home. So he's going to keep wandering around, checking everything out. I think our Chipmunk is currently sleeping, otherwise maybe she would have come down to say hi. What you guys can probably see with him is that he's using his nose quite a bit more actively now than maybe you've seen our other skunks doing. This is a whole new world for him, a whole new bunch of smells. So you can see his little nose is kind of on high, and that is going to be one of his primary senses. He's going to kind of smell around his environment, maybe dig up some things. Unlikely that he's going to find anything to dig up in here, but that's why his keepers are here, so we can keep an eye on him, make sure that he's all nice and safe while he has this little fun exploration time.
All right, we have a question. We have from Chase, who's 8 years old. How long has Graham been at the VLM?
Thanks for your question, Chase. So Graham has been here since the fall of 2019, so he's pretty new. He only came to us a couple of months ago, so he's only started going out on programs recently. So we wanted to take this opportunity for you guys to sort of meet one of our special animal ambassadors. You guys can always chime in with your questions, tell us hi, where you're watching from. If there's anything special you want to know about Graham or the museum, just so you guys are aware, we do have keepers working every single day, 7 days a week, so we can take care of these guys. And we are actually going to be working throughout the entire time that everybody's stuck in their houses, because as we all know, animals can't take care of themselves when they're in human care, so we're here to make sure that they're safe, they're well fed, and they can continue to be ambassadors for their cousins in the wild, so you guys can keep visiting them. So I bet a lot of you are thinking that he can definitely walk a little faster than you thought. It's a little bit hard to keep up with him, but that's really good because that means he's nice and enriched. He knows what's going on. He's trying to look at everything, smell everything.
We have a couple questions. One is, what animal is Graham? And then, how old is he? And can you explain the color again?
No problem, guys. So first question is to be able to answer for you. Graham is actually a skunk. Come here, Graham. So he is Mephitis, which is his Latin name. He's actually just a regular old skunk that you guys may find in your backyard, but obviously he does have that different coloring. Normally he would have kind of a white stripe going down his back, and then he would be mostly black. But he is what is called Leucistic, which you'll see in a lot of different animals. You'll see it in some birds, deer sometimes. That basically means that he doesn't have any pigment, so he doesn't have any dark color in his fur, but he's not all the way albino, because you guys might be able to see that he actually just has regular colored eyes, and his nose is not red, so that he would be quite a bit more pink, and his fur would almost be translucent if he were albino. And I think the other question was, how old is he? He's about 7 years old.
And Grayson would like to ask, how long do skunks live?
Hi, Grayson. That is an awesome question. So in the wild, these guys would probably only live till about 5, 6, maybe 7 years old. So he would be considered pretty old if he were still out in the wild. But if he is in human care like he is now, he can probably get up to about 10 years. So considering what good shape he's in now and how active he's been, he should have another good years to go with us.
All right, Elijah, age 7, would like to know, what do skunks eat?
Skunks eat lots of things. You can see right now he's kind of buried his head in this little cup that we have here. I'll dump some of that food on the floor so you guys can see. So right now he's eating some kibble. We actually highlighted their diet on the Virginia Living Museum page the other day, so that way you guys can go check it out. You can see he's eating some worms that are trying to get away, but it's actually a really good enrichment for him to be able to kind of forage for live food like that. So that way he can eat some snacks kind of while it's on the go. They're really high in protein, so it's almost like he's eating like a little turkey sandwich or something right now. So they'll eat bugs, they'll eat fruits and vegetables, sometimes they'll walk over them, you never know. And then they'll also eat lots of different produce, and sometimes they'll eat like mice or ticks and things like that as well. So they're really, really helpful for our environment.
Jada from Williamsburg would like to know why they are so fuzzy.
That is a really good question. So these guys are native to the northern part of the United States. Sometimes you'll find them a little bit more in the south. But all of this fluff right here keeps them nice and warm. So you guys can even see they have a really, really pretty undercoat too. It's nice and thick. So that way he can keep himself all warm and bundled up in the winter. They'll put on a lot of weight in the summer and in the fall. And then they go into what's called torpor, which is basically a modified hibernation. So they can come in and out of a deep sleep if the daylight changes, as we all know it gets a lot shorter in December. Then also when the temperature starts warming up, they start waking up as well. So it's not quite a true hibernation, but they're able to sort of wake up and then go back to sleep depending on what the elements are.
All right, a question from Hannah. Does Graham usually live by himself?
Hey Hannah, that's also another good question. Graham currently does live by himself. You guys may know we have other skunks here at the museum. We have 3 other female skunks who are the regular black and white skunk color. And as Graham just got here and he's a boy, we are keeping him separated for now. But they do generally live alone in the wild unless you have a breeding pair or you have a mom and her babies. So it's totally fine for him to kind of be living his awesome bachelor life. In the future, we may try to put them together and see if everybody can get along and be friends. But that'll all be dependent on kind of what they think and how their behaviors are.
All right, Sammy asks, why isn't he spraying you?
Sammy, that is probably the best question of the day. So these guys, just like the rest of the skunks that we have here, have actually had their scent glands removed. It's for our safety, but also for theirs. As he's pretty habituated to being with people, you can see he doesn't quite mind being around us. He likes to get scratches. He knows that we mean food, we mean good things. He has no reason to defend himself. If he were out in the wild, he would obviously be an animal that can be easily predated upon by kind of bigger animals. So they want to always have that sense of spray to be able to spray out and defend themselves out in the wild. So like I said, he doesn't need that in human care, and it's just safer for everybody.
How fast can he run?
We've never clocked him, but I think today maybe we'll find out. He's definitely giving us a run for our money. There's a couple of us up here that are all sort of monitoring him, just kind of wondering which direction he's going to go in next. And you can see his little sniffer is kind of on high there. So maybe we'll find out today how fast they can run.
All right, Emmy and Autumn, ages 5 and 8, would like to ask, where does he live in the museum?
So Graham, just like our other ambassador animals, has an off-exhibit enclosure that's kind of like a little awesome penthouse suite that's got lots of different places for him to hide, lots of different places for him to explore. Oh my goodness! So he's going to actually show you a little bit of his stomping there. You guys caught that. He was actually running forward and he did a little bit of a stomp display. So he's getting pretty excited about stuff. You don't even want your worms? No, that's okay. But I think some of you guys might want to see his face a little bit closer up. We can see if maybe he'll hold still for a minute, or he's got other things to do today. So to finish your question about where does he live, we have a bunch of our animal ambassadors in different enclosures. So we have our rabbits, we have our skunks, our owls, things like that. And then they all get different kinds of exercise and enrichment like this. That way they can get out, stretch their legs, and do all those normal behaviors. questions that we have here is he stinky? So he actually, I think he smells quite sweet. But you know, that may just be my personal opinion. Sometimes you smell a little bit of that kind of skunk musk on them. But that's really just kind of from their scent glands, their anal glands, kind of their sweat glands even. So how every animal has a different smell. It depends on how he's feeling, if he's excited, if he's scared. They'll kind of emit different smells.
Mason is asking, can or will he bite?
He certainly can. So that's a really good point to bring up. Any animal that has teeth can bite. So whether that's a fish or that's a parrot with a really sharp beak, which are not teeth, or Graham here who does have teeth. So that's why we try to do a lot of choice and control with him, which means that he gets to control his environment. He gets to wander wherever he wants to safely, and we don't put him in any stressful situations. We do a lot of husbandry training with our animals here. So we're working on training him to step up on a scale, to get voluntary weights, as well as other voluntary medical procedures. So essentially we don't have to sedate him or scare him or stress him out or anything. We like all of our animals to be nice and happy and healthy, and participate in all their care. I think one of our questions on here was, why does his tail look like a ponytail? So I think that's probably even in reference to my ponytail, because I'm pretty sure that we're basically twinning today, which is really exciting. That's just kind of how his tail looks. We can actually get a little bit closer. Graham, do you want to come say hi to the folks? So we can pick him up really fast so you guys can see him a little bit better. Our camera operator will let me know where the good light is. So he's just really fluffy. So you guys might notice that we kind of have the same kind of ponytail going on, except mine is hair and his is actually his tail. So if I know you guys don't have touch vision, but there's actually like a tail inside of here. I'm not sure if you guys can actually see it, but there is a tail that's just got vertebrae and it's got skin on it, and then all this fluffiness out here, it's just all extra. So a lot of these animals that are prey animals will have a little bit of this extra fur around it, so that way if they're running away from a predator, the predator might be more likely to kind of catch this little bit of extra fur than they will be to actually catch the animal himself. I think he wants to get back on the ground and do a little bit more exploring, so we'll let him do that.
Owen has a question. Can skunks swim?
You know what, Owen? I'm not sure about that, so I'm going to have to get back to you. I would say they probably can swim okay. I wouldn't say they were championship swimmers, but I think if they were put in a situation where they had to be in water, I think they'd probably get along. I don't think they would be able to go any kind of distance or anything. So you guys might see some extra feet walking around. We just have a couple of our keepers up here watching him walk around so we can make sure he can explore wherever he wants, but so he can explore safely. Bath. One of our guests wants to know if we can give him a bath. We certainly can if we really needed to, but he's actually pretty good at keeping himself clean, just like other wild animals or even your dogs or cats. Animals are pretty well adapted to not necessarily needing a bath. They do a lot of their own grooming, so he can actually turn around, groom his whole tail, groom his feet, and keep himself quite clean. Obviously, since he's white, we might be able to notice a little bit extra dirt on him from time to time, but like I said, he's pretty good about keeping himself nice and clean.
Chase would like to know how good or bad is a skunk's eyesight?
Oh my goodness, that is a really good question. You know what? I don't think I've ever been asked that before. So these guys have pretty teeny tiny eyes. You may have seen that in the video earlier. I don't think he's going to want to hold still right now for you guys to see, but maybe Britt can get in close. So their eyesight is okay. They can definitely see. They're not blind. As you can see, he kind of knows that we're over here. But their primary sense is going to be their smell. So you can see their eyes and their ears are relatively small. So they still use those senses for different things. Obviously, if he's out during the day, you're going to want to use your eyesight when it's brighter out. But like these guys, like many animals in kind of this part of the United States, so Virginia and the mid-Atlantic, they're going to be what's called crepuscular, which means they come out kind of around dusk or dawn. So right at that time of day where it may be a little bit harder to see. So they're not going to be necessarily relying on their eyesight quite as much. But you can see he's always kind of doubling back, checking on us, making sure we're still there. He knows us and he feels comfortable with us. So he always wants to make sure that we're around. So hopefully that answers your question, but I'll see if I can get you guys a better answer to that too.
Elizabeth would like to ask, is he related to the Ferret family?
Oh, Elizabeth. That is one heck of a question. So like I said before, this guy's Latin name is Mephitis mephitis. And the word mephitis itself in Latin does mean kind of an odor, smell. So, you know, if you want to get really crazy with it, you can call him Stinky Stinky. But I wouldn't. I think that's, you know, a little rude, and I think he deserves a little better than that. But these guys are distantly related to ferrets. They are in their own family, which is called Mephidae. So there's not really too many other animals that you guys would recognize that would be in that family. But they are distantly related, I would say. They're considered a small carnivore. So some other animals that might be distantly related would be something like a ferret, a mink, or if you want to go a little bit further out, it would be something like a river otter.
Todd's wondering, how do skunks hibernate?
So skunks don't do what's called a true hibernation. They go into torpor. Right now you can see him smelling around his water bowl. So all of our skunks at the museum are just coming out of torpor now, and they generally go into a modified hibernation from about November until just about March, give or take a couple of weeks. And it really depends on the weather, it depends on daylight and all of that fun stuff. You can see he's eating some of his kibble there. And it's essentially a method for them to be able to use their calories appropriately. So he's not going to want to burn calories, you know, out exploring if he can just go into a really nice deep nap and not have to worry about actually foraging for food. I think he's actually still a little bit hungry. See if he wants any of those snacks left. So this time of year, they're all going to be waking up. We've noticed all of our skunks are quite a bit more active now. They're all hungrier. A lot of them have burned off some of that extra calories that they put on last summer and last fall. So they're going to be really, really hungry. He's going to try to get all the food that he can. And we're going to make sure that he's getting it in a way that keeps his weight good for his size. Also allows him to go into the summer and do a little bit more foraging. Oh my goodness, he's so tired. Sometimes when they plop over like that, he's just tired. He's been running around quite a bit up here. So he's kind of pushing himself, kind of like you guys would do if you went to the gym or something.
Katie wants to know, what do skunks drink?
That's a good question. So these guys don't drink soda. They don't drink orange juice or anything like that. They actually just drink water when they're adults. So you can see he's going out to check his water bowl occasionally. They do get some liquid from the animals they eat, so little plants, little animals, things like that, but they will drink water occasionally. And just like other mammals, so you and me are both mammals, I'm assuming as long as you're a person, not a cat who's gotten control of somebody's phone. We are both mammals. Cats also are mammals, fun fact. So we all drink milk when we're young at different stages. So these guys would drink milk from their moms, just like all mammals do.
And I think we've got time for one more question. How many babies do skunks give birth to at a time?
Skunks can give birth to probably, I would say, between anywhere between, I would say, 2 to 6. There's certainly exceptions in there. I think every individual is a little bit different, but generally it depends on how many babies the mom can feed at once. So a lot of times when they're younger, they may not be as successful. So they may have 4 or 5 babies, but they may not be able to keep them alive. Or she may just have a couple more, and maybe she's a really successful mom and she can keep them alive.
All right, and then I guess we got one more little question here that I like. Why did you name him Graham? Because I know there's a story behind this.
There absolutely is a story behind this. So we named him Graham as in the graham cracker cookie. Oh, and he just took a little poop, but that's okay. That's why the keepers are here. Because two of our other skunks are named S'mores and Mallow, as in marshmallow. So we kind of wanted to complete that little trifecta and have an actual graham cracker cookie with them too. So plus he's got that beautiful golden hair, so we think it fits him quite well. All right, guys, so thank you for joining us. We know we had some technical difficulties there at the beginning. So thanks for joining us and hanging out with us today. And our very special skunk ambassador, Graham, as he strolls around the Piedmont Gallery, the Virginia Living Museum. He's being a little bit of a goof right now. He's trying to set Mark all over the place, so all the other skunks know that this is his territory. If you guys want to join us this afternoon, I believe we are doing some puffer fish enrichment, which will be pretty cool. So that's at 2:30 this afternoon. And as always, you guys can check out all of our natural enrichment or our natural education. See, I've just had enrichment on the brain the whole day. So we'll have some more of this natural education going on all of our social media channels. So that's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok. And you guys can always check our website for more information. So that's thevlm.org. All right, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you at 2:30.